My name is Reverend Leslie Goodwin. I'm one of your senior ministers, along with Reverend Karen Lewis. And we're just so excited about what's happening at New Vision Center. So this week, as often happens, Jeff Hargis asks me, do you have a talk title? And I said, I'm so excited. And he said, well, then I can't wait to hear it. I said, I'm so excited. And he said, I understand, but, oh wait, is the title I'm so excited? And it is. The title is I'm so excited. Not just because I am always excited, though there's an argument to be made for that. Not just because it's Pride Month. I'm waiting for applause. Not just because the Suns made it to the second round in the playoffs. Notice I didn't need instructions for that one. But because we are at a pivotal point in our spiritual hero's journey. So I'm going to back up to the beginning for everybody who maybe hasn't heard all these talks yet. But at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of 2021, we launched an annual theme called the Spiritual Hero's Journey. And the idea is that we are all heroes in our own spiritual journey. So we went back to the work of renowned writer Joseph Campbell and the people who came after him, to the cycle of the hero's journey as we can analyze it through books and movies and mythology over time. And we're walking out this year following the evolution of our own individual lives and the life of the community through this lens of the spiritual hero's journey. This is good news. This is exciting. In the cycle, we go through all of this prep phase, and then we go through the transformation, the big change that we've been seeking in our life so that we can integrate it and move it into having the life that we have claimed for ourselves. And this is exciting, right? Right? Except for this part, this one little teeny part, which is we're right there, near the flames and the tentacles and the full-on meltdown. And it's titled Death and Rebirth. Whew, that feels big, doesn't it? Death and rebirth. But don't you have to have death and rebirth to get to the big change? So, this is the halfway point of the year, and here we are in the beginning of June. So we better get ready for the big change. Now, our beloved Reverend Beverly Strutt likes to give me fun examples. And one day she was telling me, she's a massage therapist as well as a minister, and one day she was telling me, did you know, Leslie, that the physiological feelings of being really psyched up about something, a date with someone you're really into, the job interview for the job of your dreams, the big exciting party you've been waiting for forever, the physiological feelings of that, let yourself feel a little bit. Your heart's a little fluttery, maybe your tummy's a little fluttery, your blood pressure and heart rate might go up a bit, you're ready, right? That physical sensation is exactly the same physical sensation that we experience at the top of a roller coaster right before it's gonna go down, right? Elevated heart rate, tummy's fluttering, we're anticipating. This tells us something. The difference between nervous and excited is a thought. It happens in our brain, not our body. It's the same bodily experience, and we ascribe meaning to it with our brains, which means, this is good news, because this means it's a choice. It's a choice. When we are at that moment of flutteration, I think I just made that up. When we're in flutteration, we get to decide, am I afraid or am I excited? Now, there are ways to learn to get excited instead of afraid. In my case, I think I just stood too long in the peppy, optimistic line when God was handing out attributes. I just stayed in that line and got extra shakes. There's some truth to it. And again, it's a skill set. We can learn, we can decide to look more through that excitement lens And so that's what we're going to talk about today. As we come up to the tentacles, as we enter this phase, how can we choose to see it through the lens of excitement about the big change, whatever your big change is, rather than the fearful place, the nervous place that we sometimes look to when we are encountering change. I keep thinking if I say the big change with big enough arm gestures and excited eyes that we'll stop being so afraid of the word change. Big change, jazz hands. We're working on it. So the first thing that we have to do is we're going to take a breath. And we're just going to feel into the idea that change is coming. It's inevitable. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. So we might as well get comfy. There's a big part of worrying and being nervous that's caught up in the idea that we have any actual control and could stop change from happening. I would like you all to stop your hair from growing right now. No more haircuts. We won't have to change at all. Just stop. Stop doing that. Stop aging too, by the way, if you're at it. And if you're me, stop gaining weight. Probably not going to happen. I like food. We can't do it. Change is inevitable. They say the only inevitable things are death and taxes. Death is just a form of change, and sometimes so are taxes. What we want to do is get comfortable with the idea that change is coming, because without change, we don't get anything good either. You know, we think about change like, I lost my job, my relationship split up, I have to move and I'm not comfortable with it. We think, when we use the word change, we think of the negative connotations or things that we didn't plan for. But also change is getting married, falling in love, finding a new vocation, getting a promotion or a raise, getting more education. All the good things are change too. And when we say, I don't do change, not only are we delusional, but we're cutting off the flow of our own good. So we're just gonna settle in. If it makes you nervous, excited, we can just shake out the crazies, right? We're just going to get comfortable with the idea that change is going to happen. Change is going to happen. And it's good. Sometimes we're letting go of things that we didn't like. A job that wasn't working, a relationship that wasn't working. Sometimes we're letting go of things that we do like. A job that was fine, a relationship that was okay. But what we want to do is always be open to the idea of letting go of the good for the even better. Letting go of what's okay to make space for the great. One of my favorite little cliche comments is, you can't start reading the next chapter while you're still reading the last one. You have to be willing to close one chapter in order to open the next. Every advancement, every promotion, every progression, every moment of growth is change. And when we define it that way, change isn't so scary, right? 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 Alan Watts gave us this big piece of advice. In the question of, do we endure change, or is it worth learning to enjoy it? He said the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. Join the dance. Doesn't that sound delightful? How many do I have on board so far? I gotta, get a poll. I got about a third of you. Okay, we'll get the rest of them. We'll keep working on it together. So one of the pieces that has really helped me get comfortable with the idea of embracing change and being excited about it is redefining my own definition of happiness. See, one of the reasons we get so nervous about change is because we have the mistaken belief that our happiness is dependent on the thing we have, the relationship, the money, the job, the whatever. That is, I have to have that to be happy. That's why I'm happy. And so let's test it. Let's test it. I invite you to close your eyes and just think about just what makes me happy? Why am I happy in my life? What am I grateful for? What do I got going? And now, keeping your eyes closed, I invite you to imagine, allow to rise up into your consciousness the felt presence of a time when you felt completely at bliss, completely at peace. Notice what you're doing in this memory. And as we bring our awareness back into this space, I'm willing to bet that for a lot of us, the things that we think make us happy, the job, the money, the status, the accomplishments, weren't present or weren't entirely present in our memory of being at bliss. We need to be willing to re-look over and over again at how we define success, happiness, a good life. Because if we're walking around with a definition that doesn't actually match what makes us happy, we're working our whole lives to accomplish not happy. And that is not exciting. But if we're willing to really look at, what does it take I can tell you for me, my definition of happy is loved, creative, and at peace. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with any job or any specific relationship or any amount of money or anything that I might be so wound up on the inside chasing if something's going to change because I'm believing an old story. So just take a moment in your own mind and see if you can come up with a definition for happiness that works for you. I'm not going to quiz you. You're safe. When we define happiness as actually the states of being that lead us to be genuinely happy, all of our definitions are going to be different, but all of our definitions are going to be real. They're all going to actually lead us to make choices, to hold on to the things and the activities that do bring us true joy, and to let go of the things that aren't as integral to that experience. When we realize the things that we cling to because we think they will make us happy, when we can see it, you can't unsee it once you've seen it. Once you recognize it, it doesn't mean you have to go quit your job tomorrow if it wasn't on your list by any means. It just means if the next opportunity comes and you feel the flutter, you recognize that not as terror at losing my job, oh my God, 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 but as, ooh, that's the excitement that comes when the door is swinging wide open and good things are coming to me that are going to, what? Make me happy. Really happy. And that is exciting. That is exciting. I know when I heard that Ron Trennell was signing up and starting ministerial school, my response was, and I quote, "Eee!" Because that is my excited dance. It's not terribly dignified, and yet, we believe in authenticity here. There's a lot of eeing when I get excited, because I know one of the things that makes me happy personally is other people finding their true, authentic, deep down, self-defined joy. Oh, it's part of how I ended up in this job. It's exciting. It's fun. And as we each open up to whatever those things are for ourselves, we find that there really isn't anything to fear. We've been mislabeling it this whole time. We've been calling it fear when really it is a little bit of unusualness in our physical body temple that's cluing us in that something new is on the horizon. something new, something big, something great. And if it's for us, then we claim it. And if it's for someone we love, then we celebrate it. And it's fun, and it's good. So once we've settled into the comfy couch of acceptance, that change is always coming, and we've defined happiness in a way that actually makes sense for us. What an idea, right? Actually makes sense for us, for our own life. Then we get to start celebrating the coming expansion. Now, if Reverend Penny Masick were here, she would say, well, that's just an issue of settling your faith. And I would say, what? Because that's usually what I said when she dropped some truth bomb. What? Well, it's just an issue of settling your faith. Celebrating the coming good is just an issue of settling your faith. If you believe what we say we believe here, that's always the beginning of a tricky statement, isn't it? If you believe what we say we believe here, that the entire universe is conspiring for our good, and that an infinite intelligent source is supplying and supporting every deepest call upon our life to be a place of beneficial presence, then what on earth is there to be afraid of? If the whole universe is set up to bring us the next step in our spiritual evolution, as defined by our own definition of happiness and success, what on earth is there to be nervous about? We get to start leaning into that supportive structure that is infinite presence. It's right there for us all the time. The only time we don't feel it is when we don't turn our attention into it. But when we take a breath and we ask ourselves, really, we can ask ourselves in the inside of ourselves, do I believe in spirit? Yeah, I do. Do I believe that there's anything other than spirit? No, that doesn't make sense to me. If there's an infinite, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-existent being, it's the only thing. Okay, that makes sense to me. Do I believe that it is all good? Yeah, I can buy onto that. I can buy in. So, everywhere present, all good. Okay. Do I believe that it is interacting with me in my life? Yes, I feel the presence. I believe that. Okay, so I'm there. If it's interacting in my life, do I believe that if it's all good and it's interacting in my life, following me here, is it interacting in my life for good? Yes. All right, I'm in. And if that is true, can anything happen to me that derails my highest divine calling? No. Now, does that mean we're going to like every single evolution along the way, every single micro step? No. Sometimes we get a little bratty. I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I get a little bratty, and I would have liked a step to look a little bit different. But if the entire universe is set up to walk us toward this infinite, perfect path for our own spiritual development, I just can't think of anything else more exciting. I just can't. So we call it in. We use our tools. We use our affirmations and our spiritual mind treatment, our affirmative prayer, and our meditation and contemplation to start honing in on the good that's coming. What are we calling in? Look at your own definition of happiness. What are you calling in? I, for one, am always calling in another way to be creative. It's just part of my DNA. Another way to bring something into the world that's exciting and impacts people and is joyful and brings the power and the presence of the one into awareness in more lives and more consciousness. Am I speaking affirmations about it? You better believe I am. Am I praying on it? Every day, whether I need it or not. That's a joke for you newbies. We always need it. Am I meditating on it? Yes. All the time, contemplating it, reading about it, settling into it, looking up what Ernest Holmes had to say about it, looking up what other wise people have had to say about it. Why? Because we know that thoughts are things. We know here that what we put our attention on expands. And the way to call something into our life is to put our attention on it. So put the worrying down. Put the nervousness away. And let's get excited about what's coming for our lives right here, right now. Yeah? When it all comes down to it, this is what Ernest Holmes has to say about each one of our individual jobs on this planet. Our job is to meet life as it comes with some sense of power, a consciousness of love and joy, and an expectation of good that we have developed deep within. Love, power, joy, and the expectation, the excited expectation of good. This is the energy with which we want to approach this idea of dying to whatever we're ready to let go of and rebirthing, being born again into this next expression of our life right here, right now. Are we in? Yes. Excellent. Let's take it to prayer and anchor it in. Oh, so good it is to stand together as individuals in faith, as a community that supports one another in the divine truth that good and more good and only good is unfolding for each one of us. That there is always a gift being born out of every experience. So good it is to know that we can lay down the worry and the stress and the fear and lean into the excitement of that which is being born in us right here, right now. That the entire universe is conspiring for our good and that there is always more good unfolding. And so I just speak a blessing over everyone within the sound of my voice. That whatever the call upon our heart, sweet Spirit is whispering over it, saying, yes, my beloved, yes. All is healed, all is solved, all is given, all is well. And I call it good and very, very good. And so it is.